10,000 people retire every single day in North America. And you might be one of them really soon, but you're really uncertain about what this looks like and how it's going to come together. The Ontario Securities Commission recently did a survey with Ipsos Reid about profiles of a retiree. And I strongly encourage you, if you're leading up to retirement or in retirement, to read this survey and feedback. And I'm going to go through a few key points in this video, but we'll also link it below so you can read through the whole article, which is 97 pages, hence why I'm not going through the whole thing here today. But let's cover the key points that I found through this research. Profiles of a retirement. So this is a survey that Ontario Securities Commission released and put out. And again, here's a table of contents. And why I'm showing this, because it's a 97-page document, as I mentioned, so you can see which sections you want to go through. Now, again, I want to cover off a few things here. So the first thing is top financial concerns among Canadians 50 plus, which I know is a lot of you watching this video. Now, these concerns I hear every single day: sustained high inflation rates, running out of money. And this is a big thing why we do that laddered income when we create a retirement plan. More early or less later, giving you that peace of mind that, look, you can go spend this amount of money early and not run out of money later on in life. Increased housing and rental costs. So yes, if you're renting, costs are definitely going up. And again, I got my property tax here not too long ago, and property taxes and just the cost of maintaining a home is increasing drastically. And then the last thing there, unexpected healthcare costs. Obviously, in Canada here, we have a decent healthcare program. A lot of our coverage is covered off. It's not out of pocket, but some of those big ticket items can be out of pocket, and it is a big concern. So again, these are discussions you want to have with your financial planner to ease these concerns. Again, they may not go away altogether, but let's bring it down. If, on a scale of 1 to 10, if it's a 8 or 9 right now, let's bring it down to a 1 or 2 through some proper discussions and retirement planning. A few challenges for pre-retirees and, in theory, retirees when they hit retirement is the idea that they're going to have to live on their own savings and not a defined benefit pension plan. If you rewind 20, 30, 40 years, most people had a defined benefit pension plan through their employer. That's no longer the case. And so the burden drops on you, the retiree, to save up, to make sure you have enough to retire, and you're living on your own retirement fund. So that's a huge challenge that people are facing. So the Ontario Securities Commission, again, goes through profile of key differences, retirees to pre-retirees. And so a few things that stood out to me here are that 54% of retirees work with a financial advisor versus only 43% of pre-retirees. Portfolio managers 15 versus 10, self-directed 16 versus 29. Now, that last point, the self-directed, there's been a big push for self-directed investing. And for many of you, the self-directed investing is a great option to do. It was lowering the cost, you were paying high fees at your bank, you weren't getting anything for it. The transition was natural and it made a lot of sense. What we find with retirees is when they hit retirement, a lot of them don't want to continue on managing their own money. And again, everyone's different and everyone can do whatever they want to do. But one of the big challenges that retirees will face is that when you're in the accumulation phase, it's maybe a bit easier to manage your own money in a way, even though it's still challenging. It's a bit easier because you're putting money in. You're always able to buy. It's like, yeah, I like that stock and I want to buy that. And you're buying stuff. It's a lot easier to buy stuff than sell stuff. So if we fast forward to retirement, one of the challenges that DIY investors face, whether they realize it or not right away, is that you have to decumulate your assets. You actually have to sell your assets to live off of. Not many of you are in the fortunate position to live off interest and dividends and capital gains of your current investments that are kind of generating naturally. Most of you will have to deplete your assets. Now, some of you I know watching this video say, yeah, Adam, my dividends are 10 or 15% and that's going to get me through retirement. But you still have to transition from your RSP out of your RSP or out of your RIF to other accounts, to cash flow. There's a lot of moving parts that happen here. So just be aware that you need to prepare your cash flow for your retirement plan. Again, make sure you have a good, clear retirement plan, tax plan, all of that. But the drawdown is a lot more challenging because when you need that $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 out of your RIF account to put food on the table, to pay bills, to do your traveling in your go-go phase of retirement, what are you selling? And a lot of you can't answer that question. So make sure if you are a DIY investor that you go through this process. Make sure you understand how you need to change on how you manage your money in retirement. If you manage your money the same pre-retirement and post-retirement, you're going to run into a lot of issues and you're going to be liquidating some investments at bad times, costing you a lot of money. So make sure you switch that gear. Again, there's nothing wrong with managing your own money in retirement if you like doing that, but they're two completely jobs. Pre-retirement, post-retirement. This is different. And I think that's why we see this data of, people not doing DIY in retirement, because it's just a different job altogether. It's a completely different process. So just make sure you understand that as you lead up to retirement. The next chart is current types of saving vehicles that people are using. So both pre-retirees and retirees. And that top one, the tax-free savings account, I want that to get to 100% for both pre-retirees and retirees. Now I understand if you're a non-resident, US citizen, you can't have a TFSA, so it's never gonna be 100. But for anyone that qualifies for a TFSA account, you need to have one, you need to start funding it. It is vitally important as you enter into retirement. So that's great that 67% of retirees have one. Let's get that higher. Work on building your tax-free savings account up because it's massively important. Same with your RSP. A lot of people out there think RSPs don't make sense. I can show you again and again that it does make sense. There might be that 1% where it doesn't make sense for, but again, probably not you, and it's probably 0.001% that it doesn't make sense for. So again, those top two accounts, start saving up. The tax-free savings account, your RSP, great savings tool for retirement. Now the third one, personal savings in excess of $5,000. You can see retirees are actually doing better than pre-retirees, and that's probably because pre-retirees have mortgages and kids and a busier life. It's more expensive. But I encourage you, if you're watching this video and you're a pre-retiree, make sure you have an emergency fund. Nothing derails your retirement plan quicker than not having an emergency fund. Get one saved up. So those top three items, let's get that closer to 100% across the board for pre-retirees and retirees. Now, a red flag I saw in this was non-mortgage debts, both of pre-retirees and retirees. And the top one here, credit cards. 30% of retirees have credit card debt. That's concerning. 42% of pre-retirees, that's even more concerning. So credit card debt typically right now is around 20% interest. Now you can get a quote unquote low interest credit card that is more in the 10 to 15% range, but that's a massive amount of interest to be paying. So if you're someone that maybe had a tough point in life, you have credit card debt, you didn't mean to, it happens. I get it. I've talked to many of you and it just happens. Life happens. I get it. If you have credit card debt, look at doing a consolidation loan, rolling that credit card debt into your mortgage or a HELOC, any way to get it to a lower interest rate so you're not paying 20%. From there, cut up that credit card and change the way you're doing things. Change your spending habits. Find a second job. Get a second hobby that you can create some money, some cash flow from. But you need to A, get rid of that high interest debt, roll it into something else that's much lower, create a payment plan. But then B, change the ways going forward. But this is very concerning that, a third of retirees and almost half of pre-retirees are carrying credit card debt. You need to change your ways. So get rid of that debt and then change the way you're spending, change your habits, get a second job, do whatever you need to do. But paying 20% for pre-retirees, A, you're delaying your retirement. B, you're costing your retirement. So not only is it delayed, but you're gonna have less in retirement if you're paying 20% to the credit card company in interest every month. Part of this survey, they looked at retirees and the attitude for retirement. And 67% of people are looking forward to retirement and about 10% not looking forward. And this would honestly line up with the people I talk. I talk to thousands of people every single year that are in retirement or gearing up for retirement. And I would say about this, it's about an 80, 20, 90, 10 kind of point. So this is very accurate. And there's a few data points in this survey that completely line up with the thousands of data points that I have on my end. So that's why I like this feedback. It's really accurate. So that's why I encourage you to read through it. Now, the next slide is by far the most intriguing slide that I read in this article. But before I jump into it, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We release 2 new videos every single week around retirement tax and estate planning for Canadians. But a lot of our content covers any retiree anywhere. So join our channel, hit the subscribe. Let's jump into the... So what we're looking at here is planned activities in retirement. So what you planned and what you're actually doing. So on the right-hand side there, what you plan to do during your retirement years. You can see the second one at 55% is traveling for leisure. But the reality is on the left there, the dark blue kind of purple is, what are you doing with your time in retirement? So 55% of people thought that they would travel for leisure, yet only 35% of people are actually doing it in retirement. Now the top one, spending time with family and friends, 62 to 64. So very similar. The second one on the left, spending time on new or existing hobbies, 51% versus 52 on the other side. Again, very similar. Now on the right hand side there, the red box, working part-time. And I find this is so true. So many people plan to work part-time. So 35%, almost a third, over a third of you plan to work part-time in retirement. Yet the reality is only 8% of you are actually working part-time in retirement. And this would line up with the data that I have. A lot of you find a lot of value in your work, you love work, the people, all of that, and you think, I can never leave this. And so you plan to kind of continue to work part-time, or you think you need the money or whatever it is. There's many variables to that. But then you hit retirement and you realize, I have enough money. Wow, I really enjoy not going to work. I enjoy the freedom and all that. And most of you won't work part-time in retirement. It might be for a very, very short period of time, but not beyond that. So if you're someone that plans to work, into retirement, part-time into retirement, you might, but the reality is, and the data shows it here, a third of you think you will, and 8% currently are. The last few slides I want to cover off here around retirement planning, and this slide blows my mind. So drawdown strategies for retirees. And the top three are, as a financial planner, very, very, very concerning. So the first one, I have not withdrawn any money from my retirement savings plan. The second one, I withdraw what I need or want when I want it with no formula. The third one, I withdraw the minimum amount that is set by Canadian tax rules for RRIF withdrawals, i.e. I take out the RRIF minimum. And you can see that is the bulk of you on how you draw down your retirement funds. Those three things right there are making you pay way more tax and have no tax strategy, income strategy. I think a lot of you want to pay CRA less money, and those three strategies right there pay them as most as possible. I cannot stress this enough. In fact, I was going to do the whole video on this one slide, the drawdown strategy. If you want to pay CRA more money, have less money in your pocket, have a really bad plan, and die with a lot of money, just follow what the majority of Canadians are doing here, because it's a great way to do it. You need to change this. You need to have a proper plan. If you're retired and not drawing money out of your registered accounts, that's a problem. That's number one here. You need to change that. If you just pull money out when you need it, how you need it, whatever, that's a tax problem. You need to change that. If you're only taking out the RRIF minimum, that's a problem as well. You're going to die with hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars in your RRIF later on. Guess what? CRA gets half of it when you pass away. Over 2/3, actually over 75% of you here are doing it wrong. That needs to change. Sit with your financial planner. Have this drawn out. You need to have, and again, I have over 500 videos on this channel. Start watching a few of them around drawdown strategies. We'll link a few below that you can get started on. We'll have more videos going forward on this. But you need to have the RSP meltdown. Look at your CPP time, and everything needs to integrate. Especially if you're an employee, which is most of you, as you enter retirement. When you were an employee, you went to work, you collected your paycheck, they took off the right amount of tax, you could put money into a donation. There wasn't a lot of tax strategy, it was what it was. When you enter retirement, you have tax options, you have strategy. You can actually choose to pay less tax if you want, if you choose. And most of you, based on this data, you're not choosing to. And so you can actually create a plan where you have all these different income streams. You don't have to start them all. Some are taxable, some are not. The way that you structure cash flow in retirement can drastically, and I see it day in, day out. We do financial plans, retirement plans for Canadians every day. And every day we're saving Canadians tens to hundreds of thousands. We had one plan we saved $14 million for a client in taxes. That's a lot of money. Now, I know that's not most of you. But on average, it's still into six figures of tax savings and extra income after tax in your pocket. Talk to your financial planner. If you need help, reach out to our office. We're happy to help you. We have 6 certified financial planners. All we do is retirement planning. We don't do planning for 20, 30-year-olds. We don't do we do retirement planning. That is our niche. That's our focus. That's all we do. So if you need help with that, reach out to our office. You can learn more at parallelwealth.com/planning. We'd be happy to help, because this data right here is why I do what I do. I want every single one of you watching this video, and I truthfully say this, I want every single one of you watching this video to put more of your hard-earned money back in your pocket and pay less taxes. So again, don't fall into this trap that 75% of you are falling into. Get a plan in place. You need to be doing things differently, or you're going to pay CRA way more money, both now while you're alive and at death, than you should be. Okay, enough about my rant on needing a plan. But here's also a concerning thing. So 75% of you are not drawing money out the way you should be. You're paying way more tax. Yet it says here that 59% of you have a plan. So there's a huge disconnect here. Now, 19%, yes, I have a formal written plan. 40%, yes, I have an informal plan. And I think the problem here is, and again, I talked to enough of you to know this, is that a lot of you, your plans, maybe you've done it yourself. So obviously there's some lack of knowledge there, which is fair. I mean, we're never educated in this space. But I think a lot of you are getting just really bad plans. I see different types of plans in my office day in, day out. I talk to a lot of you, and a lot of your plans line up with the data I just showed you of 75% of you are doing things wrong. And so you need to change the way you're doing things. And maybe that means you need a different plan, right? If you're just starting CPP at 60 and you're not touching your RSPs, and when you get a financial plan done, a retirement plan done, you need to see different options. Look at your CPP at different times, drawing down your RSP, have your planner show you this side of the coin and that side of the coin on many different options. Because a lot of times what happens is here's your plan, or yeah, 2 thumbs up, you're good to go, just take out the risk minimum and figure out life. That's not a financial plan. So when 59% of you say you have a plan, again, 40% is informal, I think that informal plan for a lot of you is a thumbs up, you're good to retire. Look, that is not a plan. A proper plan is something that you've gone through with a certified financial planner, someone that's actually trained to do this, to say, look, here's what it looks like on this side versus this side. For CPP, for OAS, for drawdown of your RIF, for your pension, for everything that you have going on. Again, you have a lot of different income sources. So I can't stress this enough. That number, 59%, truly, probably about 7 to 10% of you have a proper retirement plan. And that's just based on the data I see throughout this research here. So make sure you have a proper plan. Again, you've worked really hard to get to this point, to get to retirement. Why are you giving more than you need to CRA? Why are you not taking more earlier to enjoy retirement? Again, you only have so many years of that go-go phase, we call it. Retirement to about age 75. What are you doing with those years? Are you spending your money? Are you traveling? Are you doing everything you want to do without the fear of running out down the road? Again, contact our office if you need help with this. We'd be happy to help.